Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge and welcome to another recommendation video. And this is a video I meant to film a couple weeks ago and somehow I forgot it in my notebook, and then I was like, you should put this video out sometime soon, Jen, that would be good. So we're filming it today. This video, as you can tell by the title, is summer beachy / vacation romances. So this is kind of like a general rule. I don't know whether another way to say this. Some of these take place on an island, some of them are vacation, some of them are in the heat of summer, or they're books that just in general gave me a like summertime vibe. I actually like to read a lot of summertime books in the winter and a lot of winter books in the summer because I'm weird like that, but this time around we're doing it in the correct season. So let's go ahead and dive in. I have 10 recommendations for this trope, and like I try to do with these recommendation video, I want to get you in and out in about under 20 minutes, so we're going to do our best here. The first one that I want to start with is The Pool Boy by Nikki Sloan. This book is so much fun. This got a lot of attention like a summer or two ago. This is a age gap with an older woman. It's also a best friend's son, which is tropes that doesn't happen too often. And so this one is this recently divorced woman who actually works in the music industry in Nashville, and her friend's son, Troy, I think is his name. I believe he's like 25, something like that. So this isn't, like an inappropriate age. It's more of taboo because, big age gap and your friend's son. And he ends up being kind of a fill-in like pool boy for her. And one day she happens to be home from work, topless, sunbathing back by her pool when Troy comes to clean it. And they end up having this intense connection. And it's the first time that the heroine's noticed it. I think her name is Erica. Erica. But Troy has kind of been into her for a while. So when things heat up between the two of them, it's kind of like everything he's ever wanted. And for her, it's very intense because this is her son's best friend and she knows what she's risking by entering into something with him. But very spicy, very fun. Nikki Sloan is still able to fit a lot of heart into her spicy novels, and I love that. This is part of the Nashville Neighborhood series, by the way, but they all stand alone. They all take place in the same neighborhood, but yeah, they all stand alone pretty well. Then I have Ignite by Melanie Harlow. This is a continuation of the Cloverleaf Farm series by Melanie Harlow, and this one is an age gap next door neighbor, single dad, firefighter, and this book, I don't know, this book has like a summer fling vibe going on in it to me, and I believe it does take place in the summer. That's the thing, it might not take place in the summer with this one, but because he's like a firefighter and maybe it's the sparks between them that make me feel that way, but this book just was the perfect kind of summer fling type story for me. And our hero is very kind of like jaded by love at this point after having, his divorce and feeling like, things just didn't go the way that he wanted, feeling that he doesn't want to commit to anyone except his children, which is a really good attitude to have until you're falling for your neighbor who looks really cute. And when she has a fire alarm go off, when I think she's in the shower or something, he like breaks in to see what's going on and finds her naked getting out of the shower. So good times. Then I have a book that I know I've been recommending ad nauseum lately, but maybe you guys will read it if I keep talking about it, right? We have Sailor Proof by Annabeth Albert. In this book, it is a brother's best friend and kind of like a fake dating scenario. This is a gay romance, but this one has a sexy Navy chief and his best friend's adorable little brother. And this one we have Naval Chief Derek Fox is wanting to get a little revenge on his ex by showing off a rebound fling. The thing is, he's been on a ship for a few months and he doesn't have a fling waiting for him when he gets home, but it's always kind of a big deal when their ship comes in and everyone has their like partners waiting for them to hold up signs and throw themselves at them. You've seen it before. It's dramatic and wonderful. And his best friend happens to say, my brother has come out as gay recently, and he would be willing, I'm sure, to pretend to be your boyfriend and have a sign there waiting for you. And Derek is remembering his best friend's little brother and is like, well, I don't want to be an imposition, you know, I don't want to push anything. And his friend's like, no, let me just ask. Little does the best friend know that his younger brother is totally in love with Derek, and Derek may or may not have been, you know, his attraction to Derek may or may not have been a, you know, defining point in his life and his sexuality by realizing how attracted he was to his older brother's best friend. And yeah, so they end up going from there, and they end up that there's a family vacation that Derek ends up agreeing to go on with. So this one situation where he's just going to pretend to date him or pretend to be his boyfriend for like 5 minutes at the port gets caught on camera, gets shared. Now the parents know, and now they decide to continue to fake date, at least for this vacation, so that they don't have to like start it off badly. So fake dating, very much like a vacation happening. Is a good time. And then of course, you know, I would be remiss to do a beachy summertime Rex without mentioning The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. This book didn't totally work for me, but I know why Christina Lauren works for so many people. They're very endearing. Their stories are sweet. They're definitely the, you know, non-romance readers, like maybe even an intro to romance for some people, because they are, you know, highly publicized and marketed very well. That is something that Christina Lauren have got on the right track, is their books are there. They're always on the top of every Goodreads list. Now, I'm not saying this book is bad. I would not put it on my recommendations list if I thought that. I just had expected more from Christina Lauren in the sexy department. But if you like books to be lower steam, if you're looking for a beachy read that you wouldn't be ashamed if your mom picked it up off of your bed, or, you know, you're not ashamed to read in front of people, not that you should be ashamed, but you know, sometimes when we're reading things on an airplane, we either want our Kindle with us, or we just don't want to, you know, hold up the cover of Broken Vow or something, right? That's why all the discreet covers exist, you know? So yeah, this one, I should tell you what this is. It's so funny. I feel like everyone knows the plot of this, but there'll be people who don't, so I should say it. Our heroine has a twin sister, or else their sister, someone's twins. I think her and her sister are twins. But then the man that her sister is marrying has a brother, and like those two, like the sister of the sister and the brother of the brother, like them two, they are like their enemies. But when they have this wedding, they are the only two that don't eat from the buffet that is provided with the meal. Like, for some reason, I think she needed like gluten-free, or she needed something that wasn't offered, or she's like allergic to one of the things, and the hero just didn't eat it. And so on the day after their wedding, when this couple is supposed to go on their honeymoon, they are ill. They have severe stomach poisoning, and this trip is non-refundable because it was won in a contest. So her sister's like, well, why don't you go on the trip? Little does she know that the groom also said that to his brother. So they end up going on the honeymoon together, and they are enemies, or so they think. And we find out a lot of things on the trip that maybe they really aren't the enemies that they thought they are. So it's a good time. It's a good time for everybody. Very much. Yeah. And another one that's super popular, I have a few on this list because I feel like a lot of traditionally published ones end up being like summer reads, you know? There is It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. This is the first book in her new series that she had going, and this has a heroine who is a bit of a spoiled rich girl, and she's gotten into one too many problems, and so her stepfather sends her to a small town where she's kind of doing some penance, and she ends up falling for this town, as well as falling for a grumpy fisherman there, and she's only supposed to be there for a finite amount of time, but things end up happening with him. The hero in this is actually a widow as well. The Royals Next Door by Karina Halley. This is another one that came out last year. I actually read this book on my trip to Utah last year. It was really fun. But this is a girl who, she lives in a small town, and the new prince and princess end up moving in next door. And so now their small area becomes a media circus, and just going to and from her job, she has to like go through security, and she ends up falling for one of the head of security for this prince and princess who now live next door. Definitely inspired, maybe sort of kind of by true events, right? Then I have another Karina Halley I wanted to share, and this one is a shipwreck novel, and it's called Love Wrecked. So this is a little talked about book by her, but this one also involves, I can't remember if they've gotten married already or like are going to, but it's another case of like a brother and a sister type thing, and they each have a brother and a sister, and they're going to go on this like boating trip, and the grumpy, again, brother or best friend, I don't remember, it's been a long time for this one, so pardon me, he agrees to drive them there on the boat, to sail them there, because he owns his own boat, and they're going to do this, and then they end up getting a horrible storm, and they end up getting shipwrecked. And it's kind of a light-hearted shipwreck novel, like none of us are really in danger the whole time, but that can be fun. Sometimes it's cool to be able to read like a survival book like that is relatively low danger, even though like it wasn't at the same time. So I really enjoyed this one. Then there is Like Lovers Do by Tracy Livesay. This book was actually book 2 in a girls trip novel. There only ever ended up being 2 of these so far. I don't know if there'll be more, but this one is about our heroine, Nicole Allen. She's a driven and focused surgeon, and she's a resident though, I think, and she ends up getting on the wrong side of an intern whose father is a powerful donor, and so she's in kind of trouble. She has a roommate actually who, his name is Ben, and his family is actually part of a medical business empire, but he works like a different job than that because he didn't want to take the same route as his family. But he has connections where he could actually help her out of this pickle. So he asks her to come on he doesn't actually ask her. She agrees to come on this family or this vacation with friends with him, where his like ex-girlfriend is going to be there and like pressuring him the whole time. And so she's like, well, because you're going to do me this favor, let me come with and pretend to be your girlfriend, and then we'll like handle it together. And that's what they do. And so this is a friends to lovers while they're on vacation together, and all the sexy feelings. This is also interracial, and yeah, it was a good time. They go on vacation in Martha's Vineyard in this one. Then there is Beyond the Sea by Kira Andrews. Kira Andrews writes a ton of delightful gay romances in like every subgenre of romance. She has historical, she has like sci-fi, she has a lot of different historical levels actually. And this one though is actually contemporary, and it is an airplane crash of these 2 guys. They're the only survivors, and they're on an island together for quite a while until they get rescued. And yeah, this one was very interesting because actually neither of them has ever seen themselves as bisexual or gay before, and I really liked that it was both of them. You know, I know gay for you can be offensive to people sometimes or problematic, which, I mean, I can understand, but I really liked about this one how they both have never been interested in men before, and it really showed the power of like, when you completely rely on this other person and they're helping you get through these very dangerous experiences, that sometimes you can't control what you feel when you're in a position like that. And I really, really liked that about this couple and this story. And then the last one I want to recommend, this one is really bonkers. So I actually didn't rate this one super highly, but I know people love this series, and I do want to read the 3rd book in the series, so I guess I'm a glutton for like punishment anyway, and it definitely fits into the theme. So that is Lost in Paradise by J.A. Lowe, and this series is a series about this literal like sex island that's a sex vacation island where anything can go. You check in, you let them know like what you want, how you want to plan your weekend, and then there are people who work there and other guests that you can fulfill each other's fantasies. If there's a sexual fantasy you have, as long as it's legal, they find a way to make it happen for you. and it's very interesting. So both books 1 and 2 in this series, they take place at kind of like the same time, because it's like opening weekend of this club, or this island, and it's very interesting. So there's a third one coming in this one as well, but these are in KU. They're fun, they're sexy, could be a good option for you. So there you go. There's 10 recommendations that give me vacation, beachy, or summer vibes. Let me know some of your favorites. And yeah, I hope you enjoy this video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you give it a thumbs up. I put up new recommendations and videos 4 times a week, so definitely a good channel to follow if you want a high volume of content. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.